Hey guys, Ben here. Welcome back to another live stream with a cat invasion in the background. We are here once again with Deck from DC Central. Thanks for joining us. And we're going to be shortly joined by a crazy cat as well. Just forgive me, guys. It is what it is. I'm injured. I can't play with her so much. So, gotta have her fun. But yeah, welcome to another live stream. We are here for the DCTV show episode 113. We've got some interesting topics to talk about this week. We'd like to get some interaction from you guys in the chat and also send in any super chats as always to be answered on stream by me and Deck. Like I said, not too much news this week. So we're going to be talking about these specific topics, but we want to get you guys involved with those topics. So give us your thoughts and opinions on all of that. Plus, in the super chats, you can bring up anything and, we'll be sure to answer it if it's like reasonable. Obviously, if it's a Gary question, that's questionable. Regular viewers know what we're talking about that. But how are you doing, Deck, on this cold week?
Yeah, very cold week, which means that my work life is getting more busy. So yeah, it's been a busy week for me, but I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, that's good. I haven't actually been outside much, to be honest. So every time I watch a YouTube video, I watch some like vloggers and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, it's so cold," and like people are like, "It's so cold." And I'm like, I really don't know. Like, I literally have been out like twice this week, and I've been like fully wrapped up, so I haven't felt that cold. So sorry, guys, but yeah, to me, it's still like decent weather, I guess, because locked inside the house trying to, fix my ankle. So fingers crossed soon.
Yeah,
But yeah,
you're getting there.
we have Nathan who is here in the live chat. Nathan's been a member for 18 months. Shout out to Nathan. Nathan says, "Hi everyone, how are you all doing on this evening? I wonder who the villain of Superman Legacy will be. Kind of want it to be Zod or Lobo or even someone new for a live action movies. Mongol with Warworld is an option as well." Okay, let's start with this. So, Deck, for Superman Legacy, what type of villain are you hoping for? I've heard there's rumors out there that it's going to be Brainiac along with Lex Luthor. What do you think of Nathan's suggestions and that as well?
I think Nathan's suggestion of Mongol is really cool. I like Mongol is one of those characters I think would fit really well for a Superman movie as a villain. And James Gunn does also have a history with the character. The female version of the character Mongal was in the Suicide Squad, was killed off very unceremoniously in that movie. But
I remember.
he is aware of that character. I think that's a cool choice. I would be down for that. In terms of like my own personal thoughts and stuff, I don't want it to be Brainiac purely for the fact that I really want to see Brainiac in live action in a movie. I really want to see that, but I don't think he's the sort of villain you do in one movie.
Yeah,
I don't think he's a one and done thing. I think you can introduce him, you can have him be a threat for a while, but ultimately, I feel like Brainiac becomes more of a Justice League threat eventually.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's a bigger sort of character, kind of in the same way, like to give it like a Marvel comparison. Like I feel like if they were to do like a Doctor Doom in Fantastic Four for like one movie, like a one and done thing, I feel like that would be a complete waste. Same with Brainiac in a Superman movie. But I do agree. Like I think Lobo has a pretty good chance, to be honest, of being the villain. And I think Lobo is a really good start. Obviously, there's all the rumors about Jason Momoa being cast as Lobo. We've heard about this for a while now. He even posted a picture, I think, like 2 days ago on his Instagram
with James Gunn.
Yeah, so he's had a meeting with him. Yeah, so it's likely this is happening. And I wouldn't be shocked because I mean, Lobo being like a galactic bounty hunter, it kind of makes sense for like the first movie for this new Superman. Like I think that's a good kind of starting villain to go with. And obviously you'll have Lex in the background. I'm sure Lex will probably be involved with that in some way. So yeah, like I think I do like the suggestion of Mongol. I think that'd be really cool. But in terms of my own personal choice, I reckon it's probably going to be Lobo. But they really could go in any direction with this, really. I just kind of hope it's not. Honestly, I hope it's not Zod. I don't want to see Zod at all.
No, I don't want to see Zod. We've seen him recently again in The Flash, so I don't think it's going to be Zod. Yeah, I guess Lobo's a good shout, but also, like you said, Mongol was good. I think Mongol was a really good villain in the comics. He's very formidable, and Superman always has to really be on his game when he has to try and take him down. But I kind of like the idea of Brainiac, but I understand what you're getting at, that, you know, maybe he's a bigger villain than just like a one and done in the film. I'm just wondering if any of the other projects could link in. Like, is there a way that, you know, I don't know.
I mean, there is obviously
somehow.
Supergirl, and I think I remember James Gunn saying that Lanterns is going to particularly go
Who would be
into
a
like
good
the
Lanterns?
big threat of like this phase.
But
yeah,
maybe Brainiac is the overarching Thanos type villain, you know?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think, you know, in the sort of age we are in now with comic book movies and comic book movie content, when you have these big villains, they kind of can't just do the one and done thing. Like if this was back in like the Christopher Reeve era, then they could totally get away with doing Brainiac in like one movie. But in this, and with it being a cinematic universe, I just think Brainiac is too big of a threat for just one singular Superman movie.
Yeah, I agree. And let's see what some people are saying in the chat. Anyone saying any specific villains? Remember Mongol in Superman Returns game? I never played Superman Returns. Did you? No,
never did.
But yeah, I think, you know, it's a good question, Nathan. I think for now, at least Lex Luthor is going to be one of the main villains, but we don't know. Like, is he going to be the main villain? You know, he could always be the main villain. Like, there is nothing to say that they have to have two villains in the film, but I think a lot of us are thinking there's going to be someone else. I want to give a shout out to Willie Jackson, who is a member of the channel. He is here. Also, Cal has been a member for 21 months. So shout out to you guys. When is the suit reveal coming? So that's one of our first main topics. And once again, I want to remind you guys, as we go into our topics, please be sure to send in any super chats or any questions that you guys want us to answer. We'll be sure to pop up on the screen and go through them throughout the live stream. But yeah, let's talk about this. So Superman Legacy. I hadn't thought about this until this week because there's been so much talk about Superman Legacy, lots of casting news, which we talked about last week, and I forgot that we haven't even seen what he's going to look like in the suit because there's been so many like fan art, you know, pieces online. I feel like I've already seen it. I don't know about you, but so apparently, according to James Gunn, and this was something he commented on his Threads account. He's very active there. It's like a different version of Twitter. He basically said that the Superman Legacy suit is going to be revealed either in a photo or a video once production starts. So before there is like any on location leaks, which there is bound to be 100%. So that's when to expect it. When production starts, I don't know exactly the rough date they're trying to go for, but I believe it's like somewhere near the start of 2024, like in the first few months or so. So what do you think about this, deck?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like, as we sort of discussed this before we went live, but I feel like, as you mentioned, this is going to be very similar to what Matt Reeves did with the Batman, where it went into production and we got that video with the suit reveal, where we got that first hint of Michael Giacchino's score as well. It was a really epic video that they released. I feel like we'll get something similar.
Yeah, that was such a good video. Like that was
it
an
was
amazing
awesome.
reveal. And I feel like with James Gunn being himself, I think he kind of values, you know, like that fan experience. He's always interacting with fans. And I think more than just like a cool photo, I think a cool like teaser video is going to attract a lot more attention than just like a photo. Yeah. Obviously, a photo would be nice to go with it. But yeah, I think if they do something like the Batman style, that would be really cool. Like when production actually starts going. So yeah, that's kind of like what we know right now. But I wanted to ask you, Deck, and for those of you guys who are in the live chat, let us know what type of Superman suit do you want to see in Superman Legacy? Do you want it to be more of like a classic suit? Do you want it to be like a kind of sleek modern suit like Man of Steel or like Tyler Hoechlin's suit on Superman Lois? Yeah, so Deck, what type of Superman suit would you be hoping for personally for Superman Legacy?
I definitely feel like they're going to go with a lot more of like a classic style suit. which I'm personally down for. I do think Tyler Hoechlin's suit is a good kind of, rough draft to start from.
Yeah.
But hopefully, I think, give it more of that classic Superman design from the original comics, bright colors. I think that's just going to fit, what I'm envisioning for this movie and for James Gunn's universe at large. I feel like a classic style suit is going to fit that best. I think the only big question people have is obviously the trunks or no trunks. I'm personally no trunks, personally.
I'm personally no trunks too.
Yeah, I know a lot of people love it and it's a classic thing, but I just don't think it's aged well. I don't think it's one of those things that works anymore.
Look at all of them, and then this is the kind of sleeker no trunks.
I just personally think it looks silly. So I liked when they did it like in Superman and Lois, like they do like the flashback scene in that show.
Yeah, that
was cool. To see like that was nice. Like, and if they did that in this movie, like a flashback scene where we see him like his first prototype suit, like that would be cool. But in terms of like his actual main suit,
something similar to Superman Lois, I think.
Yeah,
like
the only other option I have.
Go on. Yeah, what were you saying?
Well, the other option I have, and I feel like there's a chance they might take some elements from this. You might be able to bring the picture up, but the comic cover for Superman and the Authority, he has a really cool suit in that.
This one.
Yeah, so he's got no cape, and it's also like the Kingdom Come almost Superman logo. I love that look, and obviously we know that the Authority is going to have a role in the DCEU and also potentially this movie. So I feel like there's a chance they could be going down like that sort of storyline as well. And I personally think that's a really cool, completely different suit design that we've not seen before. But like I say, I feel like that's almost a bit too out there for like what they're going to be wanting to go for. But I think you could take some cool elements from that design, particularly with like the logo. Because also, just as another point, another suit I would love them to take from is Brandon Routh's Kingdom Come suit from Crisis. That would be awesome. That suit was absolute perfection. So yeah, they're like the few design elements. Like if you could kind of get a culmination of those sort of three different suits there, that would be spot on in my opinion.
Yeah, the Brandon Routh one in Crisis was pretty cool. I have to say, for me, and I see in the chat, Jan says you want to see like a Christopher Reeve classic suit. I personally agree with Deck that I don't want to see like the trunks. I prefer the more modern style of suit where you have like, this kind of Superman Lois, kind of Man of Steel, like sleek looking. I love the look of the Superman Lois one. Yeah, like look how good it looks really in the light. And as much as this is cool, it's still a bit too like shiny and stuff for me. Like I prefer that kind of more fabricy material, kind of more like Superman Lois. So I don't really want anything like too classic, but at the same time I don't want anything like too like over the top. And I think your Authority shout is actually a good shout. Like that's something I hadn't previously thought of. Like, and considering there's an Authority film coming out pretty soon after, and they might even be involved in Superman Legacy, it would be actually making a lot of sense if they went for that. Obviously, it would be like, I think a bit bold only because not everyone knows that Superman suit from the Authority. So it might be taking a risk in some way. But at the same time, I think it would be like a cool risk to take, in my opinion.
Yeah. But I think if they went with that design, it would almost be like sacrilege because it doesn't have a cape. And that's kind of like a,
Superman. Maybe they could go that design and add a cape, or is that sacrilege too?
Yeah, I don't know. It's difficult. But I do think it's potential. James Gunn is clearly looking at that comic and that storyline as inspiration. Like we also found out recently that the engineer from the Authority is going to be in Superman Legacy, which does kind of hint towards the fact that maybe there might be other characters from it popping up. Cameo from the cat and the whiskers there. I think there's definitely a chance that there's some inspiration there for sure.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, let's move on to our next topic. I see Canada Graphs is here. Welcome, Canada Graphs. Nice to have you in the stream. Canada Graphs says, I think the Superman suit needs a fur collar like Chilblain's costume has. Maybe some bedazzling on the logo. Yeah, that's one step too far, Canada Graphs. Okay. Yeah, there's a new Superman film coming. Hi, Sarah. Welcome. Canada Graphs is here as well. Some funny suggestions. And yes, the cat is invading the stream. She is, going crazy. But that's just like a weekly occurrence, guys. Like, you're used to it by now. Okay, so let's move on to our next topic. Our next topic is due with James Gunn once again. So staying on track with DCU. So basically earlier this week, again on Threads, James Gunn made some comments. He's very active, like I said. And we didn't have too much news. So this is why, I think it's, one of the most interesting things this week. So apparently they're only going to be... So there's been so many rumors out there, basically, right, in regards to like different characters being cast in the DCU and everything, because we're all looking forward to it. But he says that the only casting is going to be done when scripts are actually finished. So what do you think about that? And do you think that means like Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, because we know they've got a writer and everything, is that going to be cast like sometime soon? Will we hear about it in the next year, I guess? What do you think about all of that?
Yeah, I think we will probably hear the Supergirl casting probably within the next year. I don't really know specifically when that would be. I think just within the year of 2024 is probably likely, especially because I think by the time we get to 2025 and when Superman Legacy comes out, I'm sure that the DCU is going to follow a similar structure to that of the MCU, where there's going to be post-credit scenes and whatnot. And I'm pretty certain that Superman Legacy, I guess, will probably have a post-credit scene that will set up Woman of Tomorrow. Yeah. Just, a really far in advance guess. But in terms of them casting, like until they've got scripts, like I think that's just kind of smart, I guess. Yeah. Because it allows the writers and the producers and James Gunn as well to fully get an idea of what they want this character to be and their journey in the movie, and then they can kind of pick a good choice from there. Obviously, there are some, like, I don't think that will necessarily be the case all the time. Like, I'm sure there will be some actors who they will just cast straight away if they have, a strong case for them. But I think, getting the script right first, like, that's one of the most key elements of these films, and making them good and making them connect with audiences is to actually have a good script and good writing for these characters. And that's something that the DCU really needs, because that's just something the DCEU didn't have, and part of the reason why that universe just didn't connect with people.
Yeah, they really have to kind of crack down on good films with good writing, and they have to build this universe properly, not rush into it like the DCU did. That was a big problem for them. And so in regards to Supergirl specifically, do you think they're going to do a full recast, or do you think we're going to get Sasha coming back, or even Melissa? I know that's probably not going to happen, but Sasha's more likely, or a recast.
Sasha Kaya is definitely not coming back.
You don't think so? Why not?
No. I just think that The Flash as a film was an absolute dumpster fire as far as like general audiences are concerned. Like, I personally enjoyed the film. Like, I thought it was like fine, and I had a good time with it. But it bombed horrifically. So I just think they're going to want to move away from that. Not that it's obviously like Sasha Kaye's fault, but I feel like anything associated with that movie, with the whole Ezra Miller thing and blah 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 blah, and even just the old universe that's not James Gunn approved, that they're going to want to move away from that as much as possible. And we know famously that James Gunn came in last minute on The Flash to change the ending. The ending was originally Barry at the courthouse scene, Supergirl was going to appear, and Michael Keaton's Batman was going to appear. But in the end, they changed it to the George Clooney cameo. So I think you take that as messaging that universe is gone.
It's more of a joke. Yeah,
it was more of a joke, and I feel like that tells you everything you need to know, really. So I think it's going to be a recast, 100%.
Yeah, I think so too. I personally like Sasha. I thought she was really good. Like you said, I think she was definitely the best thing about the Flash film. Like, I really enjoyed her version. I wish she had more time. That's one of the takeaways I had at the end of the film. But yeah, I wouldn't be. I think they will try and move on from that film and just the DCU in general. So he's gonna probably just pick, say Waller, the Suicide Squad characters, Blue Beetle, and then that's pretty much it. They're just gonna recast everyone else. I think Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow has such a good story, and I think they can make an actually amazing film. So they're going to have to think long and hard about getting the right actor. I think they're probably going to go someone comic book accurate, just based on how James Gunn's been casting so far. Based on, Superman Legacy, you've got David, who literally looks like Superman from the comics.
Yeah.
He looks like friggin' Henry Cavill. And you had the Jimmy Olsen casting. He looks like Jimmy Olsen from the comics. So I feel like with Supergirl, yeah, you could be seeing someone more like along the lines of what Melissa was like in Supergirl. But yeah, looking forward to that. But Nathan has gifted 5 memberships. So shout out to Nathan. You're a legend. Thanks for doing it once again. So we got 5 new members of the channel: James, Dominic, McMixer, Flash, Jaybird, and Alessia. So shout out to those of you guys who got memberships from Nathan. So that's just like randomly spread out and given to people who are watching the stream. So lucky you guys, I guess. You'll be a member for 1 month, and if you want to join in on any of future live streams for the members, you can for this month. So we'll be sure to set that up pretty soon. But yeah, shout out to Nathan. Thanks for supporting the channel. And yeah, let's move on to the next main topic. So we've got the new DCU. We've got the Justice League being potentially recast. That has been teased by James Gunn. Now, I'm talking to you guys in the chat and you, Deck. What are you doing with this new Justice League? Are you fully recasting it, or are you keeping some actors on board? Like, are you bringing in Blue Beetle to this Justice League? What would be your roster? So those of you guys in the chat, let us know what's your ideal Justice League in the DCU whenever they get to it. But Deck, you go first.
Recast everyone.
Recast everyone.
I mean, I know James Gunn has sort of already said that those core Justice League members that were in those movies, like Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, blah blah blah, they're being recast, which is good. I'm still kind of tired of the whole James Gunn is bringing some people over, but not everybody. Like, in my opinion, just clean slate it. I know there are some things obviously that are successful, or things that people like obviously Joel Maraduena, who played Jaime Reyes in Blue Beetle, was very popular. I loved him in the movie. I thought he was great. So I understand wanting to bring him over, and obviously John Cena as Peacemaker, again, very popular. I get it, but it's one of them. I just feel like the whole point of this reboot was to get audiences back, get their attention back, and you're not going to do that if you are just picking and choosing who comes back. So in the case of the core Justice League members, recast them all, in my opinion.
Yeah,
and obviously we've got David Corrin Sweat, so that's our new Superman. I'm very interested to see who they get for everybody else.
And because... what characters would you also bring in? So say you get to choose the Justice League, right? You could put Cecile in there, you could put Felicity in there, you could put whoever you want.
Ben, stop! You're reading off my list before I get to it. I mean, I want a classic style Justice League team. Obviously Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. You've got to have the Trinity. Flash, Aquaman, Green Lantern, whichever. I mean, we know obviously Hal and John are going to be in this, so I guess you could pick both or either. I don't know. And then also Martian Manhunter. Yeah,
he would be a very good pick.
And I'd also maybe, to go kind of the Justice League animated route, maybe just chuck in Hawkgirl. I mean, I know she's obviously been cast, so you've got her already. But yeah, I think kind of I would look at the core team from the animated shows. That's where I'd sort of go.
No, I would agree with you. Definitely the core trio: Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. But then I would change it a bit. I wouldn't go Cyborg this time. I don't think.
No, I would save him for Titans.
Yeah, he could be one of the main Titans member when they do Titans eventually. I'm not a big fan of Aquaman. Like, I don't think he's that pivotal. I think the Flash is more pivotal. Green Lantern's pivotal. I think they should have Martian Manhunter, Green Arrow would be great, like especially based on how popular the character is now. I think it'd be a waste.
I'd totally vote for Green Arrow, 100%. Yeah, obviously.
I would vote for Green Arrow. Definitely Martian Manhunter. I think Hawkgirl has a very good shout as well, or Hawkman. And then maybe you could throw in like a magical character. I mean, it depends how big you want to go with this Justice League, but I guess Aquaman could be in there. But you know, I just don't really see that happening. I feel like James Gunn probably values maybe Green Lantern more. I could see Shazam being in there. Again, that might be a recast, but yeah, I would
feel like with Aquaman as well, like he
also. I would put in Supergirl. Supergirl is a great character, and if she's important to the DCU, why can't we have Superman and Supergirl? I think that would be cool to see them team up together, right? So
yeah.
Let's do it. Yeah. John in the chat says, if you go by the original cartoon core, you need Green Arrow, as he was one of the first. Yep.
Yeah, I'm 100% like, obviously anyone watching the stream who watches my channel, like, they know Arrow is my favorite show ever. So Green Arrow is my favorite comic character.
That's my main addition is Martian Manhunter, Green Arrow, and Supergirl. Those would be my ones that I would add in. And remove Cyborg, remove Aquaman. But yeah, Black Canary could be a shout as well. Depends, if they make Black Canary a big deal. Obviously, we have one in the DCEU. But we don't know. Well, if they do a Green Arrow film, of course, Black Canary is going to be there. But as of right now, we don't have a Black Canary or a Green Arrow. But yeah, in regards to the Flash in the DCU, would you go Barry Allen or would you go Wally West? Which I think is interesting because we've had Barry, TV, Ezra, and yeah.
I personally would go Barry. I mean, I know a lot of people want to see Wally just because he hasn't had as much, like you say, representation in live action. But I don't know. To be honest, I'm kind of split on that. I feel like you could go either way. And I think I'd be okay with either because Barry, in a way, I feel like you kind of need Barry to get to Wally, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And also, if this is going to be our quintessential, Justice League for the DC universe going forward for the next 10, 20 years, I feel like you can get to that point. You can start with Barry and get to Wally. But to be honest, if they came out and said, we're going to start it and it's Wally West, I'd be okay with that. I think that's fine. But I think if it was me making the decision, I probably would go with Barry personally.
Yeah, for me, the only reason I bring up Wally is because we've done Barry the last 2 times, and I just feel like if there's Wally West, there's no comparison. There's not as much of a comparison. Like everyone watching the Flash film, when they saw Ezra, they were just comparing to Grant all the time, right? Because Grant was so good. There was so much to live up to. I don't think it lived up to it. Obviously, you have your own opinions on the film, but at the same time, I don't think Ezra was nowhere near as good as Grant. And so I think Wally would be like a safe option, and I would like to see it. Plus, also, I don't know. I don't know if anyone can live up to Grant. Same with Green Arrow. It's going to be really hard if they fully recast to actually make it live up to it. But I guess if they got good films, good stories, good writing and everything, I guess it doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Yeah, I feel like it's always possible for them to live up to it because I feel like as well we'll probably get slightly different interpretation. Hopefully not as different as what Ezra tried to do. I feel like their interpretation of Barry, where it kind of just went, he kind of went more in the Wally direction, which I wasn't keen on. And they also made Barry just this kind of weirdo, which I didn't appreciate. And in the case of Green Arrow, obviously I love Stephen Amell's portrayal, but it's not Green Arrow from the comics. The reason why I love Green Arrow in the comics is because he's a real sarky bastard, and I want to see that adapted in live action. I want to see this sarcastic arsehole. because that's one thing. Like, because they obviously tried to play Stephen Amell's Green Arrow more as Batman. Like, they tried to play it more. It was very Dark Knight influenced and stuff. So if they do Green Arrow in the movies, again, I want to see the kind of sarcastic twat who just insults his enemies and just that'd be perfect in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it would be perfect too. People, Canada says people used to say no one can compare to Justin Hartley and Tom Welling. People will change their minds with enough exposure to characters. That's true. It's very true. You know, if someone's good enough, if the film or whatever the project is good enough, then yeah, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. You know, there's been so many Supermen, but at the same time, Tyler is amazing on Superman and Lois, so he's one of my favorites now. So yeah, you're entirely right, kind of graphs. But yeah, so that's kind of it for those main topics. Just one last final thing to bring up. The Penguin and the Sandman are back in production. They're just two DC shows that are currently back to filming. Like we said before in another live stream, Superman and Lois is getting along. They're writing the episodes now. I believe they're on like episode 2 or 3. And then they're aiming for a January start date, as Canada Graphs has previously reported. So yeah, we got lots to look forward to, but not much news this week. So if you guys have any final super chats to send in, please be sure to send them in now, because yeah, we're going to be ending the stream early because not much topics, but we'll go through the chat as of right now and see what some of you guys are saying before the end of the live stream. Do you think Lana Lang will be in Superman Legacy? Do you think she's going to be in it? I feel like there's already so many characters, right?
Yeah, I don't see a point of introducing Lana at this point. Like, it's just going to be another loose end to wrap up by that point, with limited episodes, limited budget, limited cast. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. There's too many people. It's going to be all these other superheroes and different people showing up. And we've got Jimmy Olsen already cast. We got Eve. We got Lex. We got, you know, the list just goes on and on. Nathan says, Wild Shot in the Dark could bring in Firestorm. Haven't had him since Legends. Would you like to see him in the DCU?
Absolutely.
That would make for a good film. Imagine if they did a Legends of Tomorrow film. Just saying.
That'd be sick. That'd be amazing. I'd love that. But Firestorm would be great. And I honestly think Firestorm, I'm basing this off of the Injustice 2 video game, but in that game they paired Firestorm with Blue Beetle, and it was the Jaime Reyes version of Blue Beetle. And that was a really fun pairing. You could do like something similar with that, I think, if you wanted to kind of piggyback the character off of someone else, especially because Blue Beetle didn't do that well financially. I think obviously there were other reasons at play. Obviously the strikes were in full swing at that point and whatnot, but it didn't do that well. People don't really know the character, so I feel like the pair characters in that case sometimes can be easier. So I think Firestorm could work that way, but also I think Firestorm is just a really cool character. Really cool character. You know, they've got a really interesting power set, and obviously it's 2 characters as well. So that could be a really fun like pair of casting to do. You know, whether you go with the Ronnie Raymond version or you go with the Jason Fuchs version, or even if they do, you know, they sort of take from Legends and do Jack Jefferson, whatever they wanted to do, I think it'd be awesome. But I would absolutely love to see Firestorm. Like, that is a character I would love to see. Yeah,
I'm a big Firestorm fan as well. He was awesome in The Flash, and you know, also in Legends. They're both versions of them. Robert says Barry for Justice League and Wally for Titans. Yeah, I think this makes sense.
Yeah,
I would like to have both.
That.
I think having both would be better. So you have that balance of the Flash. You don't have, you know, say in the DCEU you had the goofiness that was Ezra's Barry, but then you had a different style of Wally. You know, maybe it would balance it out a bit more. So yeah, I would like this.
If James Gunn does this correctly, it could be a case of, obviously we have our big Justice League movies with all the big characters, and then all the standalone movies, and in those standalone movies you can then introduce these sidekick characters. And then do Titans, in which we have all the sidekick characters. So you'll have a Nightwing, you'll have a Miss Martian, you'll have a Aqualad, a Kid Flash, you know, all these different characters who are famously Titans members. Like if James Gunn does it correctly and structures it the right way, it will get to a point where people will come to these the Titans film or the Titans TV show, whatever they want to do, and be ready for it and know who all those characters are. And hopefully do it in a smart way, unlike Marvel, who's kind of been like chucking all these characters out, and then recently have gone, oh yeah, Young Avengers, and people are like, oh, this is a bit jumbled. I feel like they could do it in a really good way if they really focused on it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think they should build to Titans. And, you know, I love what Young Justice did, because, you know, you had the Justice League, but then you had the Young Titans or the Young Justice. And they were kind of there learning from the heroes. And you had these great pairings. I would love to see some of those pairings on screen in the DCU. And I feel like if anyone's going to do it, maybe James Gunn's going to do it. He's a fan of comics and he reads a lot, apparently. So, yeah. What do you think about Jay Garrick showing up?
Yeah,
or in the Flash film, maybe. Or
yeah, I think what would be really cool in a way to introduce Jay is either do it through JSA, if they wanted to do it that way. But I feel like JSA is something that would come further down the line.
Yeah.
But before then, you could do something like, you know, you could do like a Flash family thing, and we get introduced to Jay Garrick that way. And again, I think there's some really cool potential castings. You know, some slightly older actors who could play Jay Garrick.
Yeah.
As much as I love John Wesley Shipp, like he was honestly perfect as Jay Garrick in my opinion. Especially just having that legacy to him and playing Flash in the 90s. But again, similar thing. I think you could do a really cool older acting choice, and Jay Garrick, I think, could fit into the universe really nicely.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, yeah, there's some good actors. Like, oh, who could it be? Like, there's so many good kind of older actors that could be a good Jay Garrick. But I think you're right. Like a Flash family film, like whether it's just like The Flash or whatever they will call it, you know, having Barry, Wally, Bart, Jay, like I would love to see that properly in live action. Obviously, we've seen it in the TV show, but to see it in the DCU, and like we said with all of this, like they have to build towards this. They're going to build towards this DCU. I hope we have a lot of projects in between, and I hope we don't get a Justice League in 5 years' time. I hope we get it, you know, later down the line, you know, like, I don't know, 10 years. I know that seems like a long time, but we're not going to get the first film until 2025. So it's actually not too far down the line. It gives them the space and the time to make TV shows, to make films, and, you know, release these different types of projects. But yeah, shout out to Cal Roswell for sending in a 99-cent super chat. Thanks for supporting the channel, Cal. Also, shout out to Nathan for sending in the final super chat, $9.99. Thank you so much, Nathan. I really appreciate your support, and thanks for sending the members gifts earlier. That's really, really nice of you. So shout out to Nathan. Shout out to all the other members in the live stream. Nathan says, don't call them sidekicks. They don't like that quote in Young Justice. That's true. They really don't like that. But yeah, that pretty much does it for this live stream, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back hopefully next week. We'll see if Deck's around, but Deck has been uploading some videos on his channel, DC Central. So go check it out after this live stream ends, because he made a video to do with Doctor Who. I know some of the English people who are watching are probably a fan of Doctor Who. So go ahead and watch it. Plus also there was a Flash video just over a week ago. So that's all Arrowverse related, and some Doctor Who stuff as well as Marvel, I think, was the latest one, Marvel.
Yeah, I also did a video about the post-credit scene from the Marvel, so if you've seen that, might be worth popping over, seeing what you think of my theories. Pop your own in the comments. Love to see it.
Yeah, give him some comments on the videos that you watch. Nathan says he's going to go watch it, so shout out to Nathan once again. All right, so that pretty much does it. I'll have I uploaded a new video today, so you guys can check that out as well, and then more videos later this week. But we'll be back next Thursday with another live stream. Thanks again, guys, and we'll see you guys later. Goodbye.